Make some noise. Get excited for Christopher Pietrzak, everybody. Give it up for him.
Hey folks, thanks a lot. You don't know me though, you really don't have to assume I'm gonna be funny. Anyway, so I'm single, so let's talk about that. Yeah, so I recently found out that my life is a lot like a series of romantic comedies, but they end kind of in the middle. Yeah, boy falls in love with girl, boy loses girl, but then through a series of amusing if humiliating events, roll credits. It's heartwarming and heartbreaking. If only it were in equal measure. I also knew a lot of girls. Clearly, that wasn't my problem. But yeah, they tended to date jerks. I know what you're thinking. Chris, that sounds fair and unbiased of you. But thank you, corner. And I just don't get girls that date jerks. It's kind of like, how should I say it? You ever see someone with a severe peanut allergy just really try to fight through a peanut butter sandwich? You really should stop now. But the sandwich was so good when I started, and you're breaking out in hives. I think I'm going to try to work things out. Peanut butter will change, he said so. What about almond butter? Have you tried almond butter? I like almond butter, just not in that way. Almond butter's great. I want someone like almond butter, but not almond butter. I love almond butter as a friend. I just don't want it inside me. So I'm a little bitter, in case you didn't figure that out. I think one of my major problems is that I was born at the wrong time, because I think I'd make a fantastic starship captain. I thank you for your support. And it really all comes down to success in the world depends on whether or not these skills, talents, and interests you have are valued and rewarded by the society around you. Like, you might, for instance, become an excellent knight or a scribe or an American public school teacher, but that just not really rewarded today. Yeah. Oh, that got sad. It gets funnier, I promise. No, so I am a nerd, in case you guys were wondering. Thank you, people pretending to be surprised. And it does come with a lot of perspectives inherent in it. Like, I do believe very much in science because there are numbers and data behind it, and I live in the real world. People agree with me. Yeah. Anyone else here live in the real world, huh? Yeah. Be worried about the people who didn't clap. Yeah, so anyway, I have a major problem with alternative medicine because it doesn't exist. It isn't. If it worked, then it's just medicine. Alternative medicine just sounds a lot better than alternative to medicine. If magic were real, then it would be science. And I try not to begrudge anyone their beliefs, but it does have real-world consequences. The West African black rhino recently went extinct because its horn is viewed in Chinese folk medicine to be a potent aphrodisiac, which in economics terms means worth $200,000. The market has spoken, and it was filthy. And I read this story, and I thought, well, that's interesting. You know what else is a potent aphrodisiac? $200,000. Just put that on the table, see how that works. I think I can simplify the system, maybe cut out a middleman somewhere. I think I'd have a good job in consulting, or maybe even politics, I think. Maybe there is, a plan C after Starship Captain and comedian. But yeah, I'm gonna try being a comedian, which means I'm doing stuff like this. So what's the deal with chocolate-covered coffee beans, am I right? Those are so weird. No other food becomes socially acceptable if and only if you cover it in chocolate. I mean, if you saw a guy walking down the street with his hand in a bag of coffee beans just munching on them, you'd think he had a serious problem. And you'd be right. But covered in chocolate, and suddenly it's the most normal thing in the world. Yes, that's what I do. Anyway, I would like to go into politics because a lot of politics is just scuttling legislation, and there's no one who can ruin legislation like I can. I can come up with the most insane, idiotic things that'll just distract you from the worst piece of legislation that's coming after it. Kind of like SOPA and PIPA and other acts that people might not really care about. Anyway, I just like to introduce legislation like we drive on the left now. It's a legitimate perspective. I think we owe it to our drivers to try it out. I'd like to introduce legislation that repeals every amendment based on whether or not it's a prime number. Which runs into a lot of problems with the conservative mathematicians who argue that 1 is in fact a prime number. That and, most folks. Yeah, I also think that there should be legislation, just, for fun, that would try to make jelly beans a Schedule I controlled substance, replacing heroin, which is now mandatory. But it will be covered in chocolate, so it's all cool. All right, that's it for me, guys. Thanks.
Give it up for Chris, everybody. Chris! Fantastic.